And I gotta say, you guys are one of the biggest bands I've ever had on. I appreciate you guys coming on. Please
Thank you for
introduce
having us.
yourselves and tell us what you guys do
I'm
within the
Julie.
band.
Yep, was it?
So I'm Julie, and this is Yannick
Yep,
from Gone in April.
yep. So
No,
Julie
and
does vocals
oh,
and violin and strings and that, and I am the drummer, and we also do the production here in the studio. So we're the musicians, the production leads, the mix engineers, everything. So yeah,
yeah. Now, you guys have been together for a bit now, I guess, right?
yeah. There we go.
Yeah. So I think it's been over 10 years that the band has been alive. Let's call it that way.
Yeah,
That is gone. Not as active in the beginning, so more active maybe since 2016.
yeah, yeah. I've noticed when I looked you guys up on YouTube once, like I found you guys through my Facebook feed or whatever, right? Then I go down the rabbit hole and it's like, oh fuck, I can't believe I don't know you guys because
Uh,
as far as Montreal and Quebec goes, shit, 90%, 80% of the bands I interview, you guys are killing it up there for music, right? So, like,
Yeah, the scene is pretty strong in Montreal, Quebec, and in Canada also. So there are a lot of really amazing bands, really amazing musicians there. So yeah, it's just really cool to be to have the opportunity to be surrounded with that talent and that. Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
we're lucky.
yeah.
Let's just say we're lucky. There's a lot
yeah,
of metal.
yeah. No, for sure, right? And then, like what I seen on YouTube, even your production value is very high end. Like, how did that come about? Did you guys do that yourselves then, or did you hire a third party to come in and film some of your videos? Or
Oh, for the videos you're talking about? Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so the videos actually, it's kind of funny how that happened. We recorded our first band video in 2015 because, like Julie was saying, in the first few years we weren't as active. One of the guys that founded the band was guitarist from Germany, and because he was overseas, it was kind of really difficult to, kind of schedule concerts and that. So we had very small amount of concerts until he ended up leaving the band, and then we got new members, and then the concerts started and the video production started and all stuff like that. So to answer your question about the video, the first video we filmed was in 2015 when we were in the middle of recording the second album. So
yeah,
we had the musicians come into the studio for recording, and in the middle of the recording we went to record a video, and we kind of sat on it for several months because we got busy with finishing the album and preparing for the release show and that, and we hadn't found the person yet to do the editing. And what ended up happening is, I think like, geez, almost 6 to 9 months later, Julie and I were
At least nine
actually,
months.
yeah, maybe 9 months later. So Julie and I are on Facebook one night, and we're just kind of like scrolling, and there was a new video by a female-fronted band from Norway.
I think not.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Evignat. Yeah, and we watched the video and we were hooked. I mean, the video production
it was
was
gorgeous. Yeah.
absolutely amazing, and we thought this is the guy we need to edit our video.
yeah.
So what ended up happening is we got in touch with him. He messaged back. We had a lot of discussion, and we sent him the footage that we had recorded, and we got it back, and it wasn't as what we had hoped it to be.
Yeah, it didn't look like his other videos, so we're like, oh,
Yeah,
what's
but the reason that it didn't look like his videos is because he's very good at filming, at capturing the right angles and the
yeah,
right energy
to
and
really
getting
tell a
into the
story.
action.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, we were talking to him about it, and he said, yeah, it was the way it was filmed, it was kind of hard for him to really capture the same feel that he had in his other videos. So we said, so we really like the other videos that you've released that you have recorded and that you filmed and edited. So
Right.
what do you say we just
In that sense,
scrap?
right?
Yeah, we just said, like, what do you say if we scrap the current recording that we have and we just completely re-record the video, which wasn't the easiest thing in the world to do because I mean that video costs money to record, right? So but when we saw the difference between what he was able to do when he would film And what he did when it wasn't him that filming, we said, all right, let's just do it again. And we weren't sure exactly how he was going to react to that, right? We didn't know if he was going to say, well, you.
Well, let's finish what we were saying. So basically.
Well, we didn't know if you know, how he was going to react to that. If he was going to say, well, you know, I just finished editing and now you guys want to start over. So what we ended up doing is talking to him about it, and he was excited of the opportunity of refilming with his own tools and, you know, his eye for the angles and getting into the energy and all that. All right.
Nope. That was just for a second. Well, basically, everything went great. We absolutely loved the product, and we continued to hire the same videographer, who's absolutely amazing, and we're really, really lucky to have found him.
All right, he's back.
Nope.
Oh no, he's not back. Okay, well, I guess we might be trying this another time. We'll see. Yeah.
We had a ton of thunderstorms here, so maybe.
Yeah, it might be that too. Yeah. All right, looks like there's some people online, so I guess since there's people watching, maybe we will continue, even though he is not back. So I guess. All right, sometimes CJ just disappears, but he always comes back. Okay, all right. Thanks, Kyla. All right, well, I guess we'll continue the story since there are some people that are there. So in the end, he was excited about having the opportunity to refilm. And then we said, okay, well, he's coming from overseas. All right, he's back. All right.
Is he staying this time?
We don't hear you at all, so I don't know if that's the connection in the hotel. We don't hear you. No. Well, I guess in the meantime that you try to figure out the microphone, I'll finish my story then. Yeah, so then we said, okay, well, he's coming from abroad. We're not going to have him come just to do one video, so we might as well, you know, do more than one. So we came and he stayed for a while, and yeah, we ended up filming 3 videos that we were extremely happy with. So then when we ended up working on the 3rd album, you know, we just basically did the same thing again. The recipe works well. His name is Thomas Mordvite. Oh, I think we can hear you now.
Yay!
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. All right.
Yeah. I will definitely, regardless, have you guys back on. We got cyber attacked, I guess they said today, Canada-wide. Fucking all the things got shut down or whatever. Bank machines didn't work.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we'll keep going, and if it's better to reschedule for another time, then you can let us know. So yeah.
What we'll do, we'll just keep going for now, and we'll definitely have you on the show again, man. Not to kind of interrupt your story and stuff, but I love how when you guys write your songs, there's a story to each song. Like how does that come about? Like even with the albums, it's like a full story in that sense, start to finish, like reading a book when you listen to it.
Well, I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of pick a theme for the album, and then the songs usually relate pretty much to that theme. It's a large theme, but yes, we like to tell a story in each song. So our different point of view from a different person. So just that's pretty much how we approach things. So that's pretty awesome to, you know, when it comes across and we know that it's
right away. As soon as I heard your stuff and I reached out to you, I was like, dinner and conversation is how the show even started. You know what I mean? So like to be able to listen to your song or your album and have that story and that conversation that goes with that hits me home fucking really hard, and I love it, man. So
well, thank you very much. It's actually funny how it happened with the second album that I like to write either tell stories or a different you know, discuss situations or stuff like that, and I like to kind of describe the environment and how things go. And then we did the videos for the second album. Of what we did on the third is we did things in reverse. So when we were looking at doing videos, we actually looked for locations that we thought would be really cool, for videos. And once we actually had selected the location, we thought, what kind of a story would go very well with this kind of location, and then we kind of matched what we want to discuss to the actual video location. So that's one of the things that we started doing in reverse, basically. So yeah.
I have a huge question. I fucking can't pull a song off the top of my head. It was filmed in like a church or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything done in Quebec when you film, or do you guys travel to places like say Ontario or Europe?
So this one was in
Detroit,
Michigan. Yeah.
No way, man.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, like even when I went, I fucking drove down to Mexico and fucking did a big tour by myself. I'm gonna find myself, right? Everywhere I went, I walked into the local church I don't even know why, right? Just to see the architecture and the design and stuff, right? So when I see that video and you're playing the violin, you guys are all in that church and shit, I was like, oh, this is me right here, baby. Right? So
that was really tricky to find that spot, because we were looking for a kind of somewhat abandoned church, and by the way, there's no CGI in that, right? There's no green screen, there's nothing. Everything you see in that video is 100% real. And
really, especially now with HD and 4KD or whatever the fuck they call it, you can really tell the stupid seed shit. But your videos seem to be filmed right there on location, like it's live. You basically film it live in that sense, and then clip in this piece and that piece, right? Like,
we're a little crazy with that. We really spend a lot of time online trying to find cool places, and then we're like, okay, we've done this. Where do we go next? So it started to be more restrained now. We're like, okay, we've done the woods, we've done the church, we've done we've done the cavern.
You hear me?
We don't. Now we hear you. Yeah. So so the videos. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry, man. Fucking. I know this is. We'll definitely reschedule and stuff, but tonight we'll just bear through it and fucking deal with our technical difficulties, right? So.
So now you can go to the counter and say, hey, like, I need a discount for the hotel.
100%, man. I'm gonna be pissed. I know the company pays for it, but I'll be putting my word in. That's for sure, man. Yeah, we travel a lot. We work so. You guys have obviously done some pretty good tours and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, what's the longest tour you guys are willing to do? Like, will you do I know with Slayer. I almost got fired from my last job because Slayer did their final world tour, but I seen them 7 times on that show. And my boss is like, "It's the final world tour. You already went 6 times, man." Like, fuck you, right? Like, so like, how long have you guys been on tour and been on the road and stuff? And what's life like on the road for you guys when you're doing that shit, right?
So touring is my favorite thing, so I'm happy to talk about that. So the one tricky thing, and it's funny you're talking about your boss, because a lot of metal musicians, as everybody knows, cannot do this full time, right? So some of us have like other music jobs. Like I play in orchestras, or I work in the recording studio here, editing for other bands or stuff like that, or doing operas, whatever. Like I'm teaching a lot. So for me, everything is in music, but it's, lots of little things. And for Yannick, he works at Siemens Medical, which is like German company that builds scanners, medical scanners.
Yeah, I'm a physicist, so
You're
I study
a fucking hero, bud. You know?
Yeah, so I'm a physicist. That's what I chose to study for work, and so I have my Monday, Friday, 9 to 5, which is a job that I've been doing. In December, it'll be 20 years. I absolutely love the job, and the colleagues that I have there. It's a really good environment. So I usually keep all my vacation time for tours and stuff like that. So luckily, when you've been there for that long, you have a lot of vacations, so that kind of helps a lot. But
I know all the schooling I've done and everything, I was destined to be a construction worker, man. Like I've done my physics, I did my chemistry, right? I got my astrophysics shit. I wrote my paper on time. Time is a measurement, no different than at work, measuring an inch. You know what I mean? Like I'll send you my paperwork if you want, man. You know, but it just
construction. That's hard work. So hats off to you, because that's hard work Monday to Friday.
It's not even Monday to Friday. We just did a stretch in Thunder Bay. I was there for 42 days by the time I got home. Straight. We were always still like when I know Devin watches the show. Big shout out to Devin. He's in a band called Fortunate Losers, which is a local band right here. Fucking these guys are good too. But he's my boss too. And he's like, you don't work rain days. We don't work weekends. My first job, 42 days straight. We work rain or shine, fucking every day. I'm like, fuck you, man. My next job is a 1-day banger. 11 days later, we're out of the job. Like, fuck you, man. Fucking, I love you, man, but like, you suck as a boss. You know, just don't tell me shit. Just tell me this job. Don't tell me nothing else, man. That's all I need to know now. Right? But then you try to do this show, you know.
And the connection goes wrong. Hi, Tammy.
And Carl also. Carl. Oh no, Carrie.
Carrie. Her glasses on. Apparently, we need better ones.
Actually, for the touring, some of our other musicians, actually, some of them do music full time, 100%. But the challenge with that is, even though they do music full time, is that they have contracts and they've accepted gigs and other recording contracts and stuff like that. That's kind of spread out. So you end up having when you're trying to book tours or concerts for the group, even though they're doing music full time, we say, hey, we have a tour from this date to that date, and they say, okay, well, hey, so they say like, well, I already have, a contract on that date. So all right, he's back.
We continue to ramble while you disappear. Then
I'm bitching about my work and my boss. Right? But either way, forget what I was even bitching about.
Well, we were talking about tours, and we were saying it's kind of hard for everybody sometimes. So I think
on the road, right?
Until the band is on the road pretty much all year long, I think it's hard for everybody to clear their schedule with their boss and stuff like that. Even if you work as a musician, you have other gigs and stuff. So I think bigger bands than us maybe have it more easy, because then they're always touring. But I think until you climb there, there's always a little bit. It's a little harder to be gone for like more than a month.
Yeah, one of the things we were saying when you dropped off is, even though we have some musicians in our team that do this full time, the challenge with that is for them, they book gigs very long ahead of time, right? I mean, sometimes either like Julie with orchestras or one of the guitarists that we work with, we'll book gigs months ahead of time. So if we get an offer for a tour and we say, hey, the tour starts here on this date and finishes on this date, you know, it happens that, you know, one of our guys will say, okay, I mean, I could do a lot of those dates, but I have a gig here and I have a gig here. So even though they do music full time, even there, it's actually very difficult, you know, for to do that, you know. So I think like Julie was saying, if you do it full time and the band is known and touring 9 months out of the year, then people pretty much clear their schedules for the band, and that makes it a lot easier. But until you get there, that's what is challenging.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, how do you tell your boss, I need 6 months off to work? You know what I mean? Like, how does that work? You know what I mean? But I have two specific questions. First of all, for you, a violinist, how did you even get into violin? Because that's a very, nobody plays violin, you know what I mean? Like, but you fucking rock it, man. Like, I picked up a violin now and again. I can play it all right, but like, you fucking rock it. How did that come about?
Well, thanks.
Yeah, of course.
My dad was trying to play. I said trying. That's not very nice. Taking lessons when I was little. So I went to his lessons, and if I was nice, I would have chocolate. If I was quiet during the lesson, so I think that's what bribed me into liking violin.
Oh, you get chocolate every time. Right?
So
I'd be fucking laughing.
So I was just sitting in and getting chocolate. So then I don't know. I think I wanted to try it and started on my own. So that's how it started. And then, you know, teenage years, I got into more heavy stuff and didn't want to do only folk or classical. So I think that's Kyla says violin, chocolate, totally.
It's hard to you never picture like death metal or synthetic metal like you guys play. Almost that it's not an opera feel, but it is in that sense. And then when you bust out that violin, it just takes it to that next level, right? Like you cannot argue, man. And having the double singers like you guys do, fuck that always amazes me. I've always in my band, I've always wanted two singers. One to do the fucking hardcore shit and one to actually sing, you know what I mean? But now, my next question, as a drummer, man, like, how the fuck do you even get into drums? Like, how did that start for you?
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Like, the first instrument I played actually was the organ. My parents got me in that when I was like 5 years old, and I think that's when all the 80s stuff was coming out, you know, like synthesizers and stuff like that. So I took organ for 3 years or something like that, and then something like that, 2.5 to 3 years. Yeah.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
A pump organ? Was it like the old school organ where you pump the shit as you play?
I mean, we had an organ in the house, right? So it wasn't the big pipe organs that you need a humongous room for, you know? It was like not the big pipe organs. No, just a regular organ that can fit in a house. I don't know what you call those, but yeah. And I started listening to metal when I was 9 years old, and then I kind of had an interest for the electric guitar, and I wanted to play electric guitar with a big distortion and, you know, stuff like that. And my parents said, if you want to learn guitar, then you need to start with the acoustic guitar. And that's not really what I wanted to play, but I tried it. And my teacher wasn't really good at the time. I mean, he was more about him showing off what he was able to do rather than teaching me stuff, you know? So I kind of didn't stick with them. And then when I told my parents that I wanted to, you know, start drums, they said, well, you didn't really stick to it with guitar. So if you want a drum kit, you buy your own drums. So I worked a lot and saved up money, and I was 14 years old at the time, and bought the first drum kit. And here I am, like more than 30 years later, still playing drums, you know? So it was because of my metal heroes at the time and the heavy metal music that I was listening to. I was just drawn to the energy and the just the dynamics and just the intensity of the drums, you know? I mean, so and it's funny because before I had a drum kit, I didn't have a drum kit, but I did skateboarding at the time, and I didn't have drumsticks. So I took the rails off my skateboard and I used my rails as drumsticks and was just trying to just starting to get the motion. And someone saw me doing that at one point and said, hey, you should really consider getting a drum kit because you have the coordination, even though I was just air drumming. Said, hey, you should really check into that. So I did, and here I am, like I said, 30 years later, still playing. So yeah.
That's so amazing to hear. Like, even me, I just fell into guitar. I'm not amazing, like I can't do what you guys do. I can't even, like, watching your guitar player, like I can't even move that fast anymore. You know, like how did he even do that? You know what I mean? But like,
yeah, I guess well that's years of practice.
30 years later,
yeah.
You fucking put in your 10,000 hours. My buddy from fucking Spingali, Dave, there, one of my first guests, man, done the drumming and shit. They've opened for Metallica and shit. And he was like, you got to do 10,000 hours minimum to be good at anything, right? And I've always found that everyone finds their knack 12 to 16. Poof, you fall into that music groove, man. And regardless if people listen or not, 30 years later, you've done your time, you put in your hours, you're fucking good now. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
You guys are crafty,
I will never say that amount of hours to any of my students because I'm not sure they're going to stick around.
Right? I've never like clocked in and clocked out, she says, right? So with the violin though, like, how do you practice on your own in that sense, even with your drums and stuff? Like, I know how I do it and stuff, and I know how other people do it and shit, but like the violin, not to put you on the spot, is like an instrument that's hard as fuck to play as someone that can kind of play it. How do you even fucking like start, man, to be able to just you're playing with a metal band and you're keeping up with a violin? Like, how does that come about?
Well, I think, just how to quickly explain how the band works basically is I write some melodies, either voice or violin. I send that to Yannick for drums. He adds drums, and then we send that to Marc-André, who adds the guitar. And from there, that's how we compose. We kind of give feedback to each other. And later we add the growls and the bass. And then I beef up on the harmonies and the violin, more violins, more viola, but at least like all the melodies are written. So, and that's how we write the albums. We're all like, we send that, over internet. We're very rarely all together. And when we practice, we basically practice with the album. And since we do everything ourselves in the studio, we also have like the chance to mute the vocals or mute the drums or mute whatever. So then you play with the tracks. So and when we're playing in shows, we have in-ear monitoring, and we have like the click, and we have also like the million violins that I recorded that I can't all play at the same time. Or I'm not rich enough to hire an orchestra yet. So so we have that, during the show we have that in our ears. So it's almost the same as when you practice with the tracks at home. But the difference is you hear the others playing and singing. But I mean, it's the same material. We're all on the same click. So
you're all on the same page. It kind of defeats my next question, but as a drummer, how do you keep up with these people, man? Like, I'm watching her play the violin, do the vocals. I'm watching this dude just walk up and down the bass, the guitar. Like, how do you find the energy and the inspiration to keep up with these people? But like, fuck.
We kind of feel like we have to keep up with him because he's the one that goes crazy fast. Oh yeah, we're writing, and he's like, "Can we make that song faster? I want to play it like 210." And I'm like, "What?"
No, my first ever played with, they would bitch. They're like, "You're playing too fast by the end of the song. We can't keep up." What are you talking about, man? I'm just jamming, right? Like, so that's cool to hear, man. The band's bitching at you. You're too fast. Slow down, man.
The tempos are all figured out while we're composing the material, right? The songs. And because when we record in the studio, everything's to a click track. So we make sure that the tempo is consistent from, beginning of the song to the end of the song. And when we play live, we keep those same tempos. So I'm following the click track, you know, of the song, and so everything stays at the same tempo, you know, all the time. So, and they're following the click track as well because, like Julie was saying, they have in ears also. So everyone's got their in ears, and we got the 4-beat or 8-beat counting. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you know everyone's got that click in their ear, and everyone's following that. So it keeps everyone locked in together.
Yeah, I've noticed working with so many bands and stuff, and then collaborating on the new album that's coming out at the end of the year. Everyone I send my shit to, they're like, "Okay, you're 4/4, and then you go to 3/4, and then you're like 9/3. What the fuck is going on here?" You know, like how do I? So I've always had that conflict. Like, this is how it's supposed to sound, though. You know what I mean? Like, but as a band, you guys seem to come together really good. You guys seem to have a really good click. You guys, it's fucking good, man. I can. You guys are definitely fucking on the top of my list. All right, like.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a really good team, and to us, I mean, I don't know if you've seen in some past interviews or whatever, but everyone is spread out. We don't all live in the same city, right? So we don't really get to practice together. And when we write, like Julie was saying, we send tracks by email to some of the guys, and they add their part. So you know, but for us, it's more important to have the right people that really mesh together well with us, and putting priority on finding musicians within our own city. So, you know, that's what we put priority on. I mean, there's no right or wrong for this, but that's what we put priority on.
Yeah, not to brag or anything, or I had a band called No Skins on the show, and they never met each other in person until they were on my show. Like they met Jamie. So they were playing games, and then they fucking, I play music. They send each other shit. They wrote a whole album together. I heard their music come on my show, and that was the first time they've ever seen each other in person.
Oh, wow.
So I get that, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was like, that blew my mind, right? Like, you've never seen each other? You know, like, aren't you in the band? They're like, yeah, we are in a band. Like, amazing music though, man. Like, to be able to never meet each other in that sense and pass music back and forth, and you're still on that same page, you know what I mean? You're still in sync. Well, you guys are very fortunate. Your whole band, you guys seem to be fucking really tight. Very good.
Thank you.
So one question I always ask other bands in your area, let's give a shout out to the other bands that when you're on tour and playing, who else comes on the show with you, man? Like, let's check their music out too, right?
Oh, you mean like bands that are part of the tours also? Is that what you mean? Or
yeah, like your local bands, people you go to see at the bar and fucking want to help out. You know what I mean?
Well, some of the bands. So, some of the bands from Quebec, we have. Well, not from Quebec, but not super far. That we really.
There's Lotharo from Ontario. There's gosh, I mean, from Montreal. I don't know if you know bands like Beyond Creation. We work with bassist Hugo that played for live for Gone in April for a while. Beyond Creation. First Fragment. There's another band from Canada, Unleash the Archers. The guitarist we had on our last tour plays bass for Unleash the Archers. So they're awesome. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Voivod from Quebec, Cryptopsy.
Yeah. My buddy just sent me some of their stuff just a few days ago, man. I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? How do I get these people? You know what I mean?
No, I love
the band you just mentioned there. My buddy plays drums. He's in two different bands. Last Dance Amongst Wolves, Dead Man's Prophecy, and then you have Outland. You have Late Night Trouble, which is just fucking, they've been making waves like mad, you know what I mean? And then you got, most of your bands, Empire de More, another huge band, which has kind of been your genre and stuff. Your Last Wish with Roxanne. They were just on American Idol with the Growl. They were
Yeah,
the
yeah.
second band I
That's
ever
why.
interviewed, man. And they've been on twice now. Fuck,
Yeah.
huge shout out to that, man.
Yeah, you should check out Fall of Stasis. That's a new band from Montreal. Well, I mean, when I say new, I don't know how new or how recent it is, so maybe I shouldn't use that term. But they came out with a new album not that long ago, and I really like their music. I think it's really awesome. So Fall of Stasis, you should check them out. Yeah.
That's the great thing about this show. My fans are so loyal. They're writing this shit down right now, and they're gonna reach out and talk to those bands. And especially you guys. Fuck, you guys are definitely the higher end of my spectrum with YouTube. Like most of the time, I'll reach out to like higher end bands, like Five Finger Death Punch and shit. They don't even fucking get back to you or nothing like that, right? Like, so it's an honor to have you guys on tonight, man.
Well,
thank you guys so much, man.
Sorry, it took a little while to answer. Sometimes we were.
No, hey, I'm cool with that. I've been working with Raven Black, which is another huge band, which I can't wait. But me and the lead singer, we've been talking back and forth for a year. But because of schedule and shit, it's like, oh, we got to reschedule. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, okay, cool, man. Whatever. You know, we'll get you on. Don't worry. You know, vice versa, right? So appreciate it tonight, man. You guys are fucking fantastic. If you could send me, do you guys have a link tree? Like, you guys have merch? We can buy your t-shirts, like
Funny.
CD.
We sold so many t-shirts on that tour that it exceeded all expectations. So now we're kind of sold out on t-shirts, but we still have a bunch of CDs in the store. So yeah, on our website, that's where the store is. So just goneinapril.com and then store. Okay. There's a Canadian store and there's also US store and rest of the world. So it's easier.
Yeah, international in that sense, right?
It's just to make sure that people don't pay the, when we can, like we have people, we ship in Canada, from Canada, and we have people in US as well. So that helps keep the shipping costs down. Unfortunately for everything Europe, we can't, we don't have somebody shipping from there yet, but eventually we'll find somebody who's willing to go to the post office for us.
I'll hand deliver that shit if I can go to Europe. I'll even film it too. I'll deliver every shirt and film it for you, man. But that's what this show's here for, man. We're here to promote our local bands, the people that I fucking hate the radio. And I got lucky. I got upgraded to the work truck for a bit and had satellite fucking radio, right? So I turn on Liquid Metal or TheBoneYard. I heard the same fucking song, no different than the goddamn radio. It's like, fuck, it was ridiculous, man. I heard the new Megadeth song within the week. I love the song, don't get me wrong. Fucking Megadeth, hear it no more. And that's on satellite radio, you know what I mean? Where there's no commercials. We don't play the same. You don't. You fucking do. You know, you pre-record your shit. Fuck you, man. We're out here struggling. We do our live shows, you know, we only make our money on our merch, our fucking CDs, what we put out, right? Like, and you're pre-recording your shit and playing it for the whole month where you only have to work 1 day a week. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. You're out here doing 7 days work full time. You know, it's no different than me, right? Fuck those people. I'm rewriting the music industry. I'm redoing the festivals. I've been putting on festivals. Next year, I will be in touch. I've got 3 shows. We're already full out, fucking booked and everything for this year. But next year, I'll be in touch, and we'll get something booked. We'll have you guys on one of our venues, right?
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
If you guys don't mind coming to Ontario, this year I got shot down because of the bands I was bringing, like Dead Man's Prophecy, sorry, Last X Monk Wolves. So trying to bring up Thy Enemy and the Kingdom of Nightmare. You guys would have been sick to have on the bill. You guys are all the same music, but they're not into my music, right? So it's so hard to fucking land that property to fucking do the show, right? But next year, I guaranteed I'm doing a show in Quebec. No doubt, man. Between all the bands I work with, it's happening. You guys are on the bill. I'll get a hold of you, let you know what's happening, right?
Cool.
Well, that's
thank you very
awesome.
much. Yeah.
Oh, of course, man. I'm a huge fan. You'll see my little badge pop up when I comment on the next thing. All right. So, where do we find you guys? You guys everywhere, right? YouTube, fucking Facebook.
Spotify, yeah.
Yeah. You have a link tree?
Well,
yeah, we do. You set that up.
We have the link tree on their Instagram. But yeah, we have Facebook, Instagram, so you can find us easily this way.
Well,
and to our website, as I was saying. So between all this,
in the group chat that we've been talking, send me your link tree, and I'll put it in the title, so that after this show, everyone can just click your link tree, and it will bring you to everything, man. I really appreciate that. To make sure we get your name out there, get you guys fucking. I know you guys are way bigger than my show, right? We do what we do, right?
No, I think we appreciate everybody who's, giving us interest and giving us some time on the air and helping us promote. I mean, that's the hard thing. You can be promotion and getting the name out is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing this, because
anytime, man. When you guys got a new album, new single, fucking let me know, man. We'll get you back on. We'll shoot the shit for another hour or two. The show really has no time limit, no filter. Fuck, let's do it. You know what I mean? Let's get our music out there. And that's how our festival's going to grow. And the next thing you know, that's all we do. 3 festivals a year, baby. And just fucking live on an island somewhere. Who cares, right? Like, soon enough,
I was just chatting with fans today about how it would be kind of cool to have a big festival in the middle of the woods, like a bunch of bands in the middle of the woods where it's all nature around, because I'm a big nature fan. My hair is still wet from going to walk in the rain earlier.
All right. Oh man, I lived in the woods for like 6 months straight. No running water, no nothing. Like,
wow, nice. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always been a gypsy or a nomad in that sense. Where ever since I was like 14, I've never lived nowhere. Just kind of fucking traveled. I've been in like 48 states, all across Canada, all across the world, right? Like South Africa, Cuba, fuck you name it, right? I got the tattoos on my arm to fucking everywhere I've been, right? I got a compass to show me which way I'm going, So
I was wondering what the compass was for, actually.
Yeah, that's so I know which direction I'm going. As long as the sun rises or sets, I just turn to a certain way and I know which way I'm going, right? East or west, baby. But that's just how I've lived my whole life. I've always been on the road. I've always been traveling. So I always love to ask the bands, how do you like traveling and being on tour? Like, how many days can you go for it, right?
Well, for now, we've been on tours that were a month long. Personally, I know it's different for everybody. Like some are more home buddies and some are more gypsies. For me, if I can be on the road at least 6 months, that's kind of where I feel my best on the road. I love it. That's what I love the most.
We're the same. I love being on the road. I love being at different places all the time. That's why I took this job. We're all over Ontario, man. Like, I was in Thunder Bay, and then I had to drive 20 hours home, and then I was 3 hours job, and now we're in Sudbury. Next week I'm in Toronto. It's like being on tour. And I love it. I love every minute. I can't
that's cool that you found something.
Right. So it's anything else
hard
we
to
should
find something that. Oops, sorry. We keep talking at the same time.
No, I know. Lag. It's so true. It's so hard to find something that you love or something in common with somebody else that does the same shit, right? Like, it's like, it's refreshing.
Yep. I think it is hard. for me, that's one of the things I was like, I prefer. My mom told me when I told her I was going to be a musician, you know, she said, "Well, you better put bags in your boots." And I don't know if like it's
You need to explain
it's
that.
if it's a Canadian thing, but when there's too
It
much
is
snow.
100%.
So basically, when you're a kid and you use your snow boots too much, you need to put some bags in there around, like inside the boots, so your feet don't get wet when the snow melts. And if you don't have money, you can't change your boots. So that's kind of the idea. You're gonna be poor and wear the same broken boots with bags in them. Well, we lost him again. Oh, there you are. Oh, we can't hear you yet.
No, we can't hear you.
So I just explained the bags and the boots thing.
We can't hear you.
Still can't hear you, yeah.
Hey,
Can you guys hear him?
we can't hear you.
Good.
Now we.
Yeah, yeah. Now we.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, man. But yeah, just traveling so much and shit. Like,
Oh.
Are there any questions from people that are on? Actually, since TJ's going in and out, that maybe we can answer while we're waiting for him to be back back on. I'm going through some of the comments to see if there's any questions there. But all right, he's back.
Oh,
yeah.
So I'll answer the question on the top by Kyla. So the first album we wrote was about how do you call that in English again? A crusader that was called to go for the Crusades, and he the whole story is about him, and he realizes what he actually stepped in along the way. So the crusader leaves at the end of April, and that's that's how we found the name of the band. So Gone in April, because that's when he leaves for to reach to go to Crusades, and also he dies in April as well. So that kind of goes with it. His last entry in his journal is the last day of April.
So you need to read the lyrics of the first album to really to really understand. But yeah, it's kind of like a concept album. So you start at the beginning of the CD, and the story goes all the way to the end, and there's a big punch at the end, and the band name has to do with that big punch. So basically, yeah, that's it. Yeah. So as we're waiting for TJ to come back, I guess after that album, we just had different concepts, for the second album and the third album in that. So, what not necessarily linked to the band name, but I mean, we had done the first album, and we just kind of continued writing what we thought were things that were really cool about. How long have you been together? We started in 2011. That was the release of the first album.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's I don't exactly remember when in 2011 that it got released, but I mean, obviously it's been almost 11 years. So yeah, kind of weird to kind of think of it as 11 years. But anyways, that's what it is. So thanks, Kyla, for your questions.
Oh, thank you guys for looking at the comments. I'm sorry my internet's fucking in and out, right? But it's one thing I can't see when I run on the hotels. I'm on my tablet, so to see the comments, I can't. I know Kyle is probably watching 100%, right? Hollywood's probably watching, if she's not fucking. There's so many people, so many loyal fans. We love Tammy's probably watching. Fucking, she's all the way from New York. We got Suzanne probably from New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Some pretty awesome followers.
Loyal and solid, man. And if I could afford it, I would send everybody a T-shirt, but that would be a lot of money. But
just for shipping. The shipping is more horrible than the printing, you know?
Yeah, it is though, 100%, right? So
Yep.
when you guys do all your shows and stuff, do you sell your own merch, or do you have like, is it you that's gonna sell me my T-shirt when I see you live?
Ah,
Or
so for the moment, yes, it depends. Like the tour we did in 2019, we had somebody to help out because
Mhm.
I was also playing right before. No, not right before. It was Gone in April, and then Corpi Kleini, and then Helveti, and I was playing for Helveti as well. I was standing in for their violinist, and that was like 2 hours of show basically because we were doing 35 minutes, and then it was an hour and a half with them. So I was so dead, and the guys have other
Yeah,
duties they need to do. So during that time, we had some help. This last tour, it was mostly me and the bassist at the stand, and Yannick is
yeah.
our tour bus driver. So so we have
Yeah,
a tour
you got
bus,
other shit
and
on the go, right?
yeah,
Well, I remember when I met Five Finger Death Punch, they were selling their own merch at that time. That's how kind of low on the chain. I know it sounds terrible, like they're fucking huge rock stars now, right? But I met them because I bought a fucking T-shirt from them, and they signed it. They talked to us for like 15, 20 minutes while other people were fucking buying shirts. They just wanted to hang out with us, have some beers and shit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I go, like that's amazing to be able to buy merch off of a band member in that sense. Like you guys,
yeah.
kudos to you guys for keeping that going.
Well, thanks,
Whether
and
it's
it's also
you or her, like that's huge. That's fucking huge.
It's kind of neat to
Right?
be close to the fans, though,
yeah,
right? Because when the fans come and you talk to them, I mean, it's they say they enjoy it because they get to talk to the band members, but we enjoy it too, right? Because these are people that are into the band, and we get to meet them and get to learn more about them. And there's like,
Yeah.
we do a concert a year or two later, we go back to the city and
yeah.
they're there and we recognize them and we talk. So it's that aspect is kind of really cool. Also, you develop friendships,
Yeah.
over time. So that's kind of neat. Yeah.
Oh, it's so true. My friend Tammy, my buddy Boo, huge shout out to them. Uh, Before COVID, we were going to shows. Like I was flying back and forth from the States because I lived down there at the time. That's one of the main reasons I moved back. So we were going to so many shows in Ontario. I was like, I can't afford to fly, so I'm just gonna move back, back home, man. Because fucking, it's crazy, right? But the people and the bands and stuff, they would get to know you, like you said, the merch guy, whether it was this guy or that guy. Oh fuck, you were here the other day. Here's a free T-shirt, right? Like, huge band here in Canada, Diego's Abortion. We ended up we seen them 7 times within a week. We hit every fucking show they had in Ontario, right?
That's
They
insane.
recognized that and had beers with us and stuff, you know what I mean? Just because we were there every night, buy a T-shirt, fucking buy a stamp or sticker, whatever it was, right? Like, but
Yeah.
that's
They're from
God,
Vancouver then, aren't they? I think they go abortions.
yeah,
Are
yeah,
they from Vancouver?
yeah.
Yeah.
He's originally from Vancouver, so they're kind of spread out across Canada, but I would say, yeah, 100% Vancouver, right, is
Mhm,
where they started.
mhm.
And they're, as a Canadian band, they're fucking amazing, man, especially live, right? Blew my mind. They played with the Nasties for a bunch. That band is fucking fantastic, man. Like, for being punk, like I'm not a punk fan myself, but to see those guys live, oh, 100%, I'll go to every show they do. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
people
And the
hear music different, right? Like I went and seen CCR, I've seen Creed do a Doors tribute with Robert Krieger, and then my favorite bands like Slayer, Pantera, obviously Black Sabbath, like I'm across the board seeing fucking Body Count play, you know what I mean? Like, so for you guys, kind of a question for both of you. What got you into music? What band was it that was like, this is what I listen to now. This is my main go-to music.
Go ahead.
I listen to so many. I mean, I listen mostly to metal and and folk music. That's what I listen the most. Folk music are like ancient music, like from the 14th century. Like I know it's weird, but really old stuff. Sorry?
Oh, like old
So that's
school
kind of
shit.
what.
Like that's real old school.
Very, very old school. So for me, but the bands that got me into music, that's I because I was already playing when I was 8 years old. I was starting violin, so I think that's what got me into music. But into metal, I'd say the first like one of the first bands that I was listening to more rock was Stabbing Westward, I think, and then some Nightwish, and then some Sonata Arctica. So that's kind of what got me, like the melodic stuff, Rhapsody. So I got into metal at that time. So for me, it was a bit later. I was more like into folk music before that, and with my medieval band, playing for medieval like Renaissance fairs and stuff like that. So that's my path into metal. But Yannick is it was pretty early for you.
Yeah, I started, I think, in grade 9 listening to harder music. So, of course, this is this will show my age a bit, but anyways, it doesn't matter. So, back then, I mean, like the Twisted Sister and Judas Priest, I guess Judas Priest a lot and stuff like that. Then came the Metallica and Slayer that ended up being one of my favorite bands, Slayer. And once, Anthrax was kind of, in the thrash metal bands from the 80s. But then I got into death metal, and death metal is what kind of really stuck. And I'm the person that brings kind of the more, I shouldn't say I'm the person that brings it more. I mean, I'm the one that really has an interest in death metal. So I like to keep that aspect in Gone in April. Of course, some of our musicians have a humongous background in death metal also, right? So, but I mean, I'm the one that kind of keeps it in Gone in April, that kind of brought it in there and had the interest for that. So, Steve DiGiorgio, our bassist, I mean, he played on some of the iconic death metal albums, right, from the 90s and that. Like he played on Death Human and Death Individual Thought Patterns, which is some of my favorite albums of all times, but yeah, but those are the bands that kind of got us into what we're listening today. So yeah.
No, that's amazing, man. Fuck. I really appreciate you guys coming on and shit. I really don't want to cut off again. You know what I mean?
We'll do it another time. We'll do it a different time. Yeah.
Yeah, when I went on the better internet, we didn't get cyber attack from fucking whoever fucking did it. They say, right? But yeah. Is there anything else we should give a shout out to, or where we find you guys? Fucking let's do it right now. But so where do we find you guys? 100%. Are you guys everywhere?
Easy. You type Gone in April in Google and we'll be on top. So
well, I noticed that myself, because when I reached out, I was like, oh fuck, they're everywhere, man. Like normally the bands I deal with, we're always how do you say, underground and shit, kind of fucking your local scene and stuff, right? So it takes a bit to research. You guys popped up right away. It was right there. I was like, oh my god, it's the easiest interview I'm ever gonna have, right? Because all your stuff come up right away, right? Like, but I appreciate it, man.
I think that's kind of the work, that goes into it, making sure that we appear in searches, that we do, that we're a little bit everywhere. I think that's actually just as hard as writing music often. So especially because musicians we're not marketing inclined or whatever. So but yeah, we work hard, so I'm glad it's working.
Oh, it totally is, man. I'm fucking 100% fan for life. I'll always fucking listen to your music and support you guys if I can. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
As I said, next year I'm working on a festival just in Montreal because of all the fucking bands I've interviewed and had on the show, just from Quebec in general. Like, why am I bringing you guys to New York? I know why I am, but why don't I just throw a big festival with all you guys at your hometown? You know what I mean? Like, it'd be a lot cheaper. Everyone lives here, you know what I mean?
Canadian dollars.
Yeah. So, but hey, send me your link tree. I'll post it up in the title, man. Any last words? Should we
Well, thank you for having us. Thank you to everybody who was in the chat and listening tonight.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'm on my tablet and shit. Once again, I'm still on the road, right? So your comments, I'll go back through. Yeah. But hey, let's call it a night. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Fuck, I'm a huge fan, man. So thank you guys so much. And play loud, play proud, motherfuckers. Fucking turn that shit up.
Right. Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Of course, of course.
Later. Bye.